It began with a simple knock. When he opened the door expecting a package or maybe a neighbor, he was met with something that defied all explanation. Standing before him was a girl unlike anyone he'd ever seen. Her lower half was that of a snake, her vibrant scales shimmering in the sunlight. "Hi," she said cheerfully, as if her presence in his doorway wasn't entirely bizarre. "I'm your new housemate." She saw his expression and confusion. Whoa! His life had always been ordinary, peacefully mundane even. But this moment shattered any illusion of normalcy. What could he do? Close the door and pretend it never happened? Or step into a world far beyond his understanding? The next few days were a whirlwind of confusion and adjustments. She slithered through his home as if it was the most natural thing in the world, her tail coiling around furniture and knocking over anything in her path. "You could at least try to be careful," he grumbled, picking up a broken vase. "Oops," she said with an apologetic smile, her sharp fangs glinting. "I'll try harder next time." But trying harder didn't seem to make much difference. His once quiet home now buzzed with chaos, and he couldn't decide if it was a nightmare or the most exciting thing that had ever happened to him. As he got to know her, he realized there was more to her than her unusual appearance. She had a warmth and curiosity that made it impossible to ignore her presence. "You're staring again," she teased one evening, her tail lazily curled on the couch. He quickly averted his gaze. "I'm just trying to understand how all of this works. You being here, her expression softened. "I didn't choose this, you know. But since we're stuck together, maybe we can make the best of it?" Her words struck a chord. Could he really embrace this strange new reality? Or would he forever long for the normalcy he'd lost? Just as he began to adapt to her presence, another knock at the door sent his heart racing. This time, it wasn't a snake-like girl. It was someone with wings, their feathers fluttering in the breeze. "Nice to meet you," she chirped, her voice as light and cheerful as her appearance. "I heard you're taking care of her, so I figured I'd join in." Before he could protest, yet another guest arrived, a girl with horns and a tail, her mischievous grin promising trouble. "This is insane," he muttered, staring at the growing collection of non-human girls in his living room. "Welcome to your new life," the snake-like girl said with a laugh, clearly enjoying his discomfort. As if the chaos at home wasn't enough, danger soon followed. On their first trip outside, they encountered a group of people who didn't seem to have good intentions. Their eyes were filled with suspicion, and their words dripped with hostility. "Men and monsters don't mix," one of them said, glaring at the girls. He stepped forward, his heart pounding but his resolve firm. "They're not monsters," he said, his voice shaking but determined. "They're my friends." The confrontation ended without violence, but it left him shaken. What kind of life had he stumbled into? And how could he protect those who now relied on him? Despite the challenges, a sense of camaraderie began to grow among them. Each of the girls brought something unique to the table, a perspective, a talent, or a quirk that made life both frustrating and endearing. One night, as they sat around the dinner table, the girl with wings spoke up. "You know, you're not half bad for a human," she said, a teasing smile on her lips. "Gee, thanks," he replied sarcastically, though he couldn't help but smile back. It wasn't perfect, but it was starting to feel like a family, albeit the most unconventional one imaginable. As the days turned into weeks, he couldn't help but wonder, why him? Why had these girls been placed in his care, and what did it all mean? One evening he decided to ask the snake-like girl directly, "Why me? Out of all the people in the world, why did you end up here?" Her expression turned serious. "Because you're different. You see us for who we are, not what we look like. That's rare, you know." Her words left him speechless. Could it be true? Was there something about him that made him uniquely suited for this strange new life? Just as he began to find a sense of stability, a shadow loomed over their lives. Whispers of a group that hunted those who were different began to circulate, filling him with dread. "We'll be fine," the horn girl said confidently, her tail flicking with defiance. "They don't scare me." But her bravado did little to ease his fears. Could he really keep them safe, or was he in over his head? The tension reached its peak when the group finally appeared, their intentions clear. The girls stood their ground, their unique abilities on full display as they defended the home they had come to cherish. Amid the chaos, he realized something important. It wasn't just about protecting them. They had become his family, and he would do anything to keep them safe. Silence again. As the dust settled, the entity who had orchestrated it all appeared once more, their enigmatic smile betraying no emotion. "You've come a long way," they said, "but this is only the beginning." The battle was over, but the questions remained. Who were these girls really, and why had they been sent to him? Most importantly, what was the true purpose behind this strange, new reality? As he looked at his newfound family, he knew one thing for certain: his journey was far from over.